Well, this week we are hearing from distinguished figures in the world of business and economics on the outlook of the global economy in 2017. Our senior economic correspondent, Reiko Sakurai, asked Adam Posen, president of the Peterson Institute for International Economics, for his insights on the policies of Donald Trump's administration and possible risks they may pose.
Let me first ask you about the U.S. economy. How do you see the economic policies of the new Trump administration, and what would be your concerns?
The biggest one would be, are they going to start trade wars with Mexico, with China, with other trading partners? And it seems we're being told that the things that were said in the campaign either were not fully intended or were merely threats. I hope that's true. But my fear is they're going to have a big trade deficit in the U.S. no matter what they do. The second worry is the proposals they have for fiscal policy in the U.S. involve enormous tax cuts and some not very good spending. And these will be things that will run up the debt without doing much lasting good. They will probably increase growth in the short term, but they will not be sustainable. I worry about a repeat of the 1980s, where we have a big boom and a run-up in the dollar and the trade deficit and then a crash. My third concern, as I'm sure many people you talk to, is about climate change and energy. They're going to deregulate energy and environmental issues quite a bit. They have the power to do so day one. And again, short term, this might be a nice boost for certain sectors of the U.S. economy, but it's bad for all of us.
Now, Donald Trump did say that he will submit his intent to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership Free Trade Deal on the day he takes office. Do you think the deal still has a chance?
I think it does. I think two things are going on. First is, if you look around who he's appointed to his cabinet, almost everyone has publicly supported the TPP prior to the presidential campaign. So you have to hope that there is a majority of not just advisors, but officials in the Trump administration who know that the true interests of the United States are to pass TPP. I think the second thing is that Mr. Trump and some of the opposition to TPP on the Hill will find that the absence of the U.S. having something positive to offer Japan, Australia, Canada, other countries in the Asia-Pacific will lead to opportunism by China. I don't blame China for that. That's their right. But I think that that will also push them to revive TPP. So it may come with another name, but I think we'll get it back.
Trump has announced a Chinese favorite for his ambassador to the country, but he's also highlighting currency issues with China. What are your thoughts on this?
It's kind of silly to be attacking China on currency right now. They were manipulating the currency in roughly 2005 to 2008 on a vast scale, and probably the U.S. government should have been harsher with them at that time, which we advocated. But for the last year and a half now, the Chinese government has been intervening to prop up the currency, to keep it from falling. And more importantly, they have a reasonable self-interest in preventing capital flight and excessive movements in the renminbi rate. So if you want to criticize China, you can choose different places, but the currency argument right now is not justified.
How would U.S.-Japan relationship change under the new U.S. administration and possibly affect Japan's economy?
I think the economic effects on Japan of a relationship with the new U.S. administration will be small. Early in the campaign, Mr. Trump was saying some things about Japan, so when he would criticize China or Mexico, he would say similar things about Japan. And most of the things he said about Japan either were true in the 1980s and not true now, or were never true or were exaggerated. Somehow, some people managed to convince Mr. Trump that Japan should no longer or not be lumped in with China or Mexico. So from about midway this year, Mr. Trump had toned down the talk about Japan. It's more about Japan will rise or fall in terms of how Trump approaches the global economy. I am confident, and I'm glad I'm confident, that he's not going to attack Japan directly. I worry he may attack Mexico or China directly.